There's a doctor in Chicago making $380,000 a year. She drives a leased BMW. Her kids go to private school. She eats at nice restaurants most weeknights. Her mortgage is $4,200 a month. On paper, she's wealthy. In reality, she can't come up with $5,000 in cash without selling something or going into debt. This isn't a hypothetical story I'm making up. According to a 2025 Goldman Sachs report, 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Let that sink in. 4 out of 10 people making $500,000 annually feel like they have no financial cushion. They earn more in a single month than many Americans earn in an entire year. Yet, they experience the exact same financial anxiety as someone earning a fraction of their salary. My name's Ben, and today I'm going to show you something that will completely change how you think about income and wealth. Because what you're witnessing is called the high-income poverty trap. And the scary part? It doesn't care how much you make. It only cares how much you keep. If you've ever wondered how people making 6 figures can still be broke, or if you're earning good money but somehow still feel stressed about finances, you need to watch this entire video. Because the last section reveals exactly how much this trap costs you over 20 years, and the number will shock you. Hit that subscribe button right now, because I'm about to expose the biggest financial lie that high earners believe. Here's what makes this fascinating. The numbers reveal something completely counterintuitive about financial stress in America. According to multiple financial institutions in 2025, Americans earning $100,000 annually are more likely to report living paycheck to paycheck than those earning $50,000. Read that again. Higher income actually correlates with higher reported financial strain in certain brackets. A Pyman study found that 48% of people earning $100,000 or more feel they're living paycheck to paycheck. Among those earning over $200,000, 36% report the same thing. These aren't people who can't do math. They're often highly educated professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, tech executives, people in demanding careers who understand compound interest and retirement projections. They know they should save more. So, what's happening? The trap operates on psychology, not arithmetic. And once you understand how it works, you'll see it everywhere. When income increases, spending increases in direct proportion. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it happens so gradually that most people never even notice it's happening. A $15 lunch becomes a $25 lunch. The Honda becomes a BMW. The adequate apartment becomes a house with a guest room that nobody ever uses. Each individual upgrade feels completely reasonable. You earned it, right? You can afford it. The math technically works. But here's the problem. The upgrades compound while your savings stay flat. And once a luxury becomes routine, downgrading feels like deprivation rather than just returning to normal. This is the trap, and I'm going to show you exactly how deep it goes. Let me give you a real example of how this plays out. Meet Jennifer. 5 years ago, she was making $75,000 as a marketing manager. She lived in a 1-bedroom apartment for $1,600 a month. She drove a 5-year-old Toyota Camry that was paid off. She cooked at home most nights. She was saving about $800 a month without really trying that hard. Then she got promoted, then promoted again. Now she's making $185,000 as a director, almost 2.5 times her previous salary. Here's what changed. She moved to a nicer neighborhood. Her rent went from $1,600 to $3,400. She leased a luxury SUV because it's safer and I'm on the road for client meetings. That's $780 a month. She started eating out more because she's too busy and stressed to cook. That's another $1,200 a month. She upgraded her gym membership to one with classes and a sauna. That's $250 instead of $40. Add it all up, and her fixed expenses went from about $2,800 a month to $7,200 a month. Her income went up by $110,000. Her expenses went up by over $50,000 annually. How much is she saving now? About $400. less than when she was earning $75,000. She makes 2.5 times more, she saves half as much, and she feels more financially stressed than she did 5 years ago because she's constantly worried about maintaining this lifestyle. This is the high-income poverty trap, and millions of Americans are caught in it right now without even realizing it. If this is hitting home right now, if you're recognizing yourself in this pattern, do me a favor, hit that like button. It tells me this content is resonating, and it helps other people who need to see this find the video. Now, let me show you what people who actually build wealth do differently, because the contrast is striking. The research on actual millionaires tells a completely different story than how most high earners live. The classic study from The Millionaire Next Door revealed something shocking. Most millionaires don't look like millionaires at all. A 2025 study from Ramsey Solutions found that 94% of millionaires still live in middle-class or modest neighborhoods. Over 62% of millionaires still budget, shop deals, and avoid extravagant lifestyles even after crossing the $1 million threshold. Get this, the typical millionaire has rarely spent more than $399 on a single article of clothing. About 60% live in homes worth less than $500,000. Warren Buffett, one of the richest people on the planet, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. This creates a fascinating paradox. The people who actually accumulate wealth behave nothing like the people who appear wealthy. The doctor driving the leased BMW looks richer than the plumber who drives a 10-year-old truck but has $2 million in investments. The authors of The Millionaire Next Door created a useful test. They call it the wealth equation. Multiply your age by your pre-tax annual household income, then divide by 10. That number represents what your net worth should be if you're building wealth properly. A 50-year-old earning $250,000 should have approximately $1.25 million in net worth. Most high earners fail this test dramatically because they're spending their income instead of building wealth with it. Here's where psychology takes over. When you earn $400,000 but only have a net worth of $300,000, you don't feel wealthy, you feel behind. And so the hedonic treadmill keeps moving. You keep running just to stay in place. The most dangerous part of the high-income poverty trap is what I call the fixed cost trap. When you're earning $50,000, your housing cost is constrained by what landlords will approve. There's a natural ceiling. But when you're earning $300,000, you qualify for mortgages that stretch your budget just as thin but involve much larger numbers. A family earning $80,000 might spend $2,000 monthly on housing. A family earning $300,000 might spend $8,000. Both families have roughly the same percentage of income going to shelter. Both families feel equally constrained. The higher income family just has more expensive problems, but the same fundamental lack of flexibility. And here's where it gets really dangerous. High-income households start accumulating what I call lifestyle commitments that function like fixed costs: private school tuition, multiple car payments, vacation home carrying costs, country club memberships. These aren't frivolous expenses in the traditional sense. They're commitments, and once you're in them, they're incredibly hard to reverse. Pulling a child out of private school feels impossible. You're disrupting their education, their friendships, their social circle. Selling the vacation home feels like failure, like admitting you couldn't make it work. Downgrading the car feels like a public admission that things aren't going well. The trap tightens precisely because the lifestyle is so difficult to reverse. According to Clarify Capital Research, here's how six-figure earners are responding to financial pressure. 47% are delaying dream vacations, 31% are stalling home renovations, 26% are postponing buying cars, 17% are pushing back buying houses. These delays signal something important. High earners recognize they're stretched thin. They just haven't changed the underlying spending patterns that created the constraint in the first place. They're treating symptoms instead of fixing the disease.
Social comparison accelerates the trap in ways that previous generations never experienced.
A 2025 Goldman Sachs report explicitly cited keeping up with the Joneses as a driver of paycheck-to-paycheck living among high earners. But here's what's different now. It's not just keeping up with your actual neighbors anymore. It's keeping up with everyone visible in your social media feed, filtered to show only the highlights. Six-figure earners feel pressure to match peer spending even when the math doesn't support it. This creates a bizarre dynamic. People earning top 5% incomes feel financially inadequate because they're comparing themselves to the top 1%. Or worse, to carefully curated social media versions of people who might be even more leveraged than they are. The comparison isn't against reality, it's against an illusion. And this plays out in the data on discretionary spending. According to Empower Research, food delivery spending increased 10.2% year over year to $179 monthly. That's $2,148 annually just on food delivery. Add streaming services, ride shares, subscription boxes, premium apps, and you're looking at thousands of dollars vanishing annually without providing any lasting value. The high-income version of this pattern involves larger numbers but identical psychology. First-class flights instead of economy, hotels instead of Airbnbs, restaurants instead of home cooking, personal trainers, house cleaners, landscapers. Each upgrade feels minor, but they compound into a lifestyle that requires your full income to maintain. There's no margin, no buffer, no flexibility. And here's the regional dimension that makes it even worse. In the Schwab survey, residents of San Francisco said you need $4.4 million to be considered wealthy. Southern California residents said $3.4 million. New Yorkers said $2.9 million. Living in high-cost areas inflate both expenses and expectations simultaneously. Someone earning $350,000 in New York might genuinely feel financially constrained because their housing costs, taxes, and baseline expenses consume a massive portion of their income. They're earning coastal salaries and paying coastal prices, which often cancel out the income advantage entirely. Now let me show you what this trap actually costs you over time, because this is where it gets genuinely terrifying. The math is straightforward, but most people never run these numbers. If you earn $300,000 and save 30%, you're accumulating $90,000 annually before investment returns. At a conservative 7% average return over 20 years, that becomes approximately $4 million. Now, if you earn that same $300,000 but only save 5% because the rest goes to maintaining your lifestyle, you're accumulating $15,000 annually. Same returns, same timeline. You end up with approximately $650,000. The difference is $3.35 million. That's the cost of the high-income poverty trap over 2 decades. $3.35 million in wealth you could have built but didn't because you were too busy maintaining a lifestyle. And here's what makes it worse. The person saving 30% isn't living in deprivation. They're still spending $210,000 annually. That's more than most American families earn in total. They're living well. They're just living less well than the person saving nothing. And that delta compounds into generational wealth over time. After 20 years of consistent investing, the 30% saver has financial freedom. They can retire early. They can take risks. They have options. The 5% saver has lifestyle memories and minimal assets. They're still working because they have to, not because they want to. The trap isn't about deprivation. It's about intention. Breaking the high-income poverty trap requires confronting an uncomfortable question that most people avoid. What is all this spending actually for? The doctor making $380,000 could save $100,000 annually if she chose to. She earns enough. She just spends enough to prevent it. Choosing differently means accepting that the BMW can be a Honda, that private school might not be necessary, that restaurants every night serve convenience more than nutrition, that the house with extra guest rooms mostly impresses people who don't actually matter. These aren't judgments, they're just trade-offs made visible. If you genuinely value private education and fine dining, you should spend on those things, but you should do so consciously, understanding the opportunity cost, not automatically because that's what people at your income level are supposed to do. Here's what actually works. The automation principle works at any income level. Saving what's left after spending doesn't work. It never has. Spending what's left after saving does. If you earn $300,000 and automate $120,000 annually to investments, you will accumulate significant wealth, regardless of how you spend the remaining $280,000. You'll still live well. You'll just live less well than someone earning the same amount and saving nothing. But after 20 years, you'll have generational wealth while they have memories and minimal assets. The behavior that builds wealth is boring. It's not sexy. It's not impressive at dinner parties. Research shows that the average millionaire worked, saved, and invested for 28 years before crossing the $1 million threshold. Most didn't reach it until around age 49. The path was gradual and boring, not dramatic and sudden. This timeline matters because it shows what the high-income poverty trap costs you: time. Someone earning $300,000 who saves nothing for 15 years has foregone the most valuable compounding years. Even if they start saving later, they've lost time that can never be recovered. The compound interest you miss in your 30s and 40s cannot be made up in your 50s and 60s. It's just math. Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. 77% of Americans don't feel financially comfortable, regardless of what they earn. 40% of people making $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Total credit card debt just hit all-time highs, while incomes remain near record levels. The evidence is overwhelming. Income alone doesn't solve financial problems. Only intentional choices about what portion of income to keep rather than spend create the security that most people assume high incomes automatically provide. The trap is real. I've shown you the numbers. I've shown you the cost. I've shown you what it looks like in real life. Breaking it is possible, but it requires admitting something uncomfortable. More money was never the answer. What you do with money always mattered more. If this video opened your eyes to a pattern you've been living without seeing it, hit that subscribe button right now.
Drop a comment below and tell me, what's your income level and what percentage are you actually saving? Be honest, nobody's judging, but you might be shocked when you run the numbers. Share this video with someone making good money who still feels broke. They need to see this. I'm Ben. Break the trap, build the wealth. I'll see you in the next one.